Hi, I'm Laura Hartnett with Law by Design, and I'm back with another in my series of business books for lawyers. These are books that are written for general business people, but sometimes lawyers miss these. So I summarize them so that you don't miss the good stuff that's out there that lawyers also need to run and operate businesses. Today I'm talking about Essentialism, a book by Greg McKeown that I read a couple of years ago when I was an in-house attorney. And I'll tell you, frankly, I had a hard time implementing it. I loved the ideas, but I just didn't know what to do with it. It's a lot for attorneys. So today I want to break it down and make it simple so that you can practice some of these ways that you can be essential in your legal practice. So first of all, I'd say you need this book if you have days that go like this. You open up your computer, you start to work, and you think, it's contract day. I'm getting to that contract. I'm going to review it. I'm finally going to get it off my to-do list. That's what I'm going to do today. But then your day goes something like this. You check your email. Lots of priorities, lots of urgency from clients in the email. You get the phone call. Then you've got to deal with that issue. You've got maybe somebody knocking on your door at your office, or you've got a family member at home. And then you've got somebody pinging you about some other work drama going on. You get to the end of the day and you haven't reviewed the contract, which is all that you wanted to do today. It was contract day. Well, that's where essentialism comes into play and why I think it's really useful for attorneys. Greg McKeown talks about essentialism is less but better. It's about getting the right things done. Am I investing in the right activity? It's about living by design, not by default, just because that's what we've always done. And I think that's a lot of what lawyers could use. He has the quote, which is one of my favorites: if you don't prioritize your life, someone else will. And I know for lawyers, those someones who can prioritize your life are oftentimes clients and your colleagues. So how can you take back your practice of law and make it what is essential to you? Well, there's first three assumptions that you have to overcome that I think if you just work through those, it'll help unlock a lot of the tools that he gives later in the book. The first assumption that we have as lawyers is I have to. I have to attend that standing client meeting at 4 p.m. on Fridays. No, Greg McKeown suggests change that to I choose to. It's a subtle change, but it's so powerful to reframe it as something that we choose to do to remind ourselves we have the power of choice. Now, it's not going to sound good when you say, I choose to attend that standing 4 p.m. Friday meeting with those clients. But once you start thinking about it as a choice, you start to feel empowered. You start to think, well, maybe I could suggest to them, gosh, this is getting in the way of my social time, my family time, wrapping up my work, starting my commute. And you might suggest to the clients, which I'm sure somebody else is unhappy about, moving it to a different time of the day. The next assumption is it's all important. Everything under the sun is important. And I see lawyers do this a lot. We can justify anything. We think that a lot of small details are very important because if we don't do them, we tend to catastrophize, right? When really, only a few things matter. And so it's about finding what are those few things that really push the ball forward, and what are the things that we can leave behind or give to somebody else to do, or just not do them. The third assumption he wants you to change is I can do both. Or the more dangerous version, I can do it all. This is a really hard reality because, frankly, something has to be priority number one. And trade-offs are real. By choosing to do one thing, we're not choosing to do a host of other activities. So what do? We try to do them all. And I know you've had those days where you're trying to do everything and nothing gets done, and nothing gets done well. So instead, Greg McKeown offers, I can do anything, but I can't do everything. I think just those three mindset reframes are incredibly helpful to lawyers The rest of the book of Essentialism goes through a host of tips and ways that he wants you to evaluate, eliminate, and execute on essentialism. So if you think you're ready for those after those, I would recommend picking up this book. But if not, I'll start with 3 top tips that I think will help lawyers the most. 1 is to create time and space to focus. I have said this to so many lawyers that you get the room to dive into that contract. You can block off your calendar. You can turn off your emails. You can put up and out of office while you're going into that deep work to review that contract. Just as a brain surgeon would have to go into surgery. That brain surgeon's not taking calls. She's not answering patient questions at the time. She's performing brain surgery. That's what you get to do as an attorney. And you will be so much happier when you find that time and that space to focus on what is really important. The second tip I want to give you is asking yourself, what is the biggest obstacle to getting this done? That if I could eliminate it, I would eliminate most of the rest of the obstacles. And if that's too complex for you, and that's the question that Greg offers, just what's the biggest obstacle in your way? You might think, I don't know. I don't know. Everything's in the way. But I bet you if you get quiet and ask yourself, you'll immediately know, oh, it's social media. I can't get off of LinkedIn. It's my email. It's this one colleague of mine who keeps pinging me. Maybe from there, then you can go, shut down the internet. Maybe that's the obstacle. So you can just focus offline on that contract. Maybe you need to remove yourself and go work in a conference room or go work in a coffee shop or something to change your environment so you have just gotten rid of all of those obstacles. Again, it's about slowing down and having that focus to do that. The third tip I want to give you is when it comes to making progress, and especially for lawyers when we want to get after that project and type A and slay and do all the things, he says to stop. Just take one focused step at a time. The question to ask yourself is, what is important right now? Not ruminating about the past, not getting worried about the future. It's to stop and breathe and say, what is important right now? If you go back to the day in which the day got away from you, stopping and asking what is important, you might have said, oh, this client's emergency isn't an emergency. And this associate's work drama is not important. What's important is that I review this contract as I said I was going to, and I want to today. So that's it. Just try to make the smallest amount of progress that will be useful and valuable to the essential task. This is basically what I do. I help lawyers rethink the practice of law to help them thrive in what is essential to them and to their clients. If you're stuck and you're working through these ideas or you tend to think about them, give me a call. Let's chat, let's get in touch, and let me see if I can help you. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.